Welcome everybody. This video, we're going to talk about how to get a graphics card in 2022. And this is a series I wanted to make just because I do know, graphics cards have been difficult to get for probably the past 2 years now, and just trying to make videos and kind of short posts about different ways and things that I found from my personal experience, and just trying to make it more widely accessible. I guess right now a lot of the information only kind of miners and scalpers know, so just trying to share some of that information. And I do know, depending on how much you are familiar with kind of the shortage right now and getting them, I might talk about ways that maybe you already heard of. And the Bestbuy drop, which we're going to talk about today, is definitely a more common one. But I'm also going to share kind of some of my advice and just talk about some things. So this video is going to be a little bit longer. It's more going to be like a rant type thing too. So if you do, I'm trying to make like actual blog posts too. So if you want just a shorter version, I'm going to link that below too, to the website, TheNextLvl.io. So be sure to check that out. It's really going to be from more of a beginner standpoint. I'm going to try to explain things the best I can, and we're going to see what happens. So let me know any feedback you guys have and kind of what format works best for you. But with that being said, let's get into it. The Bestbuy drop is a fairly simple concept. And historically, it really hasn't just been for GPUs. It's been for a lot of things. Anyway, it's been around for a little while, and just because of the GPU shortage, it's definitely new for consumers and the businesses. So that's still trying to figure things out. And I think Bestbuy really has created one of the best systems in ways, and we're going to talk about why they're kind of my personal favorite, and a lot of people like them too. So this series too, we're going to talk about getting it at MSRP, because that's going to be the lowest price you're going to want to pay, obviously. Kind of getting more into that. Retailers, they do have like an obligation or some sort of agreement with manufacturers to sell at MSRP, and MSRP, for those that don't know, is the manufacturer suggested retail price. So demand right now at MSRP essentially is more than the supply, so that causes scalping and then the cards to also sell out very quickly, because if you get a card, you could sell it for more than you bought it for, and that's kind of economics right there. So I don't want to get into too much of that, but it's kind of helpful to have a short understanding of it. A little bit of why Bestbuy drops have been a favorite. And it's really for a combination of reasons. So they seem to have the most amount of inventory available, and this is definitely beneficial. It's fairly obvious. If they have the more inventory they have, the greater your chances are. And not only that, they also have a wide variety of inventory in different brands: EVGA, Asus, Gigabyte, and all of that. And I guess next on the list, they also have the Almighty Founders Edition, and that's going to be a little difficult to get. It definitely isn't impossible. And Bestbuy, they are a fairly reputable and established company. They've been around for a while. They've had competitors, and I guess they still do, like Micro Center and stuff, but not really nationwide. Micro Center is kind of more, I wouldn't even say East Coast. I think they have some in Texas, but I don't know if on the West Coast or anywhere else if they have stores like it. They're pretty reputable. The checkout process is really nice, and we're going to talk about that too. The consistency, I'm not saying it's this day and like a certain time, but it does seem to be every week or every 2 weeks. And in this case, right now it looks like it's going to be every 3 weeks. But that's to say, at least once a month, there's going to be something. And on top of that, they don't have bundles. You could buy just the card. A lot of different websites and places, they kind of bundle a bunch of stuff. Like if you're familiar with the Newegg Shuffle, usually you have to buy like a motherboard and a graphics card, which isn't, maybe it's smart on the retailer's side of things, but as a consumer, doesn't really benefit you. So Bestbuy, it's kind of cool that they just have a regular card alone. So getting into the actual details, kind of when, where, how, and more of my advice. So starting with when, It seems to be every week to every other week, and I wanted to delay making this video just to see if it was going to be this week at all, because it has been 2 weeks since the last drop now, I think. Yeah, because so the day that I'm making this is the 26th. There was supposed to be, or not supposed to be, but I was kind of predicting one either the 24th or 25th. If you look at a calendar, I don't know if I'll put one up here. But the drop before that was the 10th, I think, and that's when I actually got one of the cards, and they did a total tech drop. Don't get too confused with too much of this stuff. I'm going to try to explain it. And then before the 10th, I think they dropped it 2 weeks before that on Thursday as well. But they also did a drop on the 11th. It was kind of small, so that I know it's a lot of information, but just trying to give you an idea of sort of when and sort of how, I guess. I don't know. But so the days are definitely random. It's been anywhere from Monday through Friday. Time's also random, but you could kind of gauge it's going to be from 10 a.m. to I think 4:30 was the latest they've had one. It's definitely not something you just sit there and refresh, and that's why I'm going to talk about getting like a Discord server and talk about that. That's going to be one of your best friends to get one. So where it's going to be, bestbuy.com, obviously, and kind of how you're just going to be, it's on a first come first serve basis, so you just got to be quick enough to add the item to your cart while there's still inventory left, and the inventory is based on a regional basis, so and there's really no way to know how little or how much is left. It kind of is what it is, and you just gotta be the first to get there, I guess. So now getting into more of my advice on this method. First of all, I would recommend joining a GPU stock Discord that has notifications, and I'm going to recommend one here in a bit. And this is honestly the only realistic way. Otherwise, you'd be stuck refreshing the page yourself, and it's just, don't do that. It's just a waste of time. I'm sure there's more than one Discord servers, and I'm going to link the one that I use below. And it has lots of other resources that we're going to discuss in other posts other than just the Best Buy drop. So definitely something worth considering. And I know from talking to some people already, Discord is not too easy to navigate. So I do want to make a video on how to do that. But yeah, I'm getting off topic here. So if you are completely against Discord for whatever reason, there's also a YouTube live stream that I'll also link below, and this also alerts you whenever there's something available. If Best Buy drops, it has Amazon stuff, and I'm sure other things too. So if that's something, if you can't get notifications or something, I don't know, and just want a video to be playing in the background or something, by all means, go for that. Next up, I would highly recommend using a laptop or desktop if possible. This just gives you more screen real estate, along with having the option to open more or multiple tabs at the same time. Phones do work for this, and honestly, I've used phones. I've had success both ways, and for me, I'm not near my computer most of the time during the Best Buy drop, so I'm kind of forced to use my phone. And I've tried to use different tabs on my phone. I honestly don't know how well it works. I'd open up like a Chrome tab along with the Best Buy app, and I don't know if I have Edge on my phone too, and just trying to do different tabs that way. I believe this last time when I used it, it was through the actual app. That's usually what I go to first, trying to be the quickest, just because I have the app pulled up already. But yeah, that's just a quick recommendation, I guess. And then before the drop happens, definitely do some research. Find out what GPU or GPUs you would be interested in that fits your needs, and definitely make sure it's within your budget. And this is something that some people might overlook, and definitely, with tax and everything for more expensive cards too, definitely make sure you're making the right decision. But yeah. With this being done, you could definitely narrow the search category for the items you're wanting, and so it just makes easier navigation if you're going through Best Buy on the website or the app. and when the time comes, you're just ready to pull the trigger and go. An example of this, personally, I just look at the EVGA 3060 Ti's along with anything of the Founders Editions. And so that comes, I think, around 20-ish items or so. So definitely a lot less than the hundreds of different cards there are. And next, just understand there's no way of knowing how much inventory they have and how much is left, and the speed of your kind of checkout is going to be what really matters, just because it is on a first come first serve regional basis. And I think this is more so why it's important just to have a few cards in mind at a time too, just in case you might not get the card that you want. You have maybe a backup option, and right now, unfortunately, most of the time you're not going to get the card you're going to want. But luckily, I mean, they have lots of different cards available at somewhat similar price range. So that's, I guess, a benefit too. So if you do have an account, feel free to sign in. It really doesn't matter too much, just because if you are selected, you'll have 10 minutes to check out, which is really nice. And I guess a few more things here. Just because you are in line doesn't guarantee you GPU. I know kind of the first times I did this, I was thinking, oh, I'm in line, I'm gonna get one, but that's not the case. And Founders Editions usually sell out the quickest, so something to consider. Going back to my other point, 98% of the time you're not gonna get the card you're in the queue for. And this is why, just because you might think you're quick enough, it might not hurt to open up another tab, see what else is available. From here, the process is pretty straightforward. You're either going to get selected to proceed or you're not. And like I mentioned earlier, Best Buy does have a pretty cool structure where if you are selected, you have 10 minutes to check out. So when that happens, don't feel too rushed. I mean, you have 10 minutes, so hurry up, I guess. But it's definitely enough time. So that being said, I wanted to touch on the Total Tech topic fairly briefly, and I do want to keep it somewhat short. So essentially, Best Buy, with their last drop on the 10th, they implemented a program called Total Tech, which costs $200 annually, and this pretty much gave access to exclusive items. And on the 10th, they had the first drop ever for Total Tech members only. And this definitely created a lot of backlash, and for good reason. I mean, it essentially made a paywall in order to purchase any GPUs they had. And yeah, people weren't very happy about that, and for good reason. The very next day, they had another drop for everyone, but seemed to have limited availability. And I guess it is likely they're going to have more Total Tech and non-Total Tech drops in the future, but right now it's unclear, and that's why I was hoping they would have one this week to kind of see how they would navigate through that, but they didn't, so oh well. So this isn't a recommendation to get it. I personally, for me, I did purchase it, and I've got a card through it this last drop. I feel like more people have signed up for it, and that your chances aren't as great as the first time, so definitely take that into consideration, and kind of that's something you got to figure out. I personally wouldn't recommend it, but at the same time, if you want greater chance, but I mean, at the same time, I don't even know when their next drop is going to be. So all things to just take in mind. And with that said, I'm hopeful this information has been helpful and beneficial. I'm sure there's some things I left out, some things you have questions on, so feel free to leave a comment. And if you have had success with Best Buy drops in the past and have some advice that I left out in this video, definitely share it if you can. I mean, that's the whole reasoning for this series that I'm doing, is just sharing as much information as possible with those that are trying to get a card now. So, and I know with the 40 series, it's not going to get any easier later this year. If they do come out, I'm hoping they do. But with that, pretty much wraps up this video. So if you are interested in learning some more, these are longer videos, but I'll also have a post on the website as well, so feel free to look at that. Just kind of more, I know YouTube comments are just kind of easier to interact with too, so that's why I wanted to do both and kind of just create a system here. So we'll see how it goes, but yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.
Bye.